Math 140, week number 9, central limit theorem. This is the week 2, the second part of it, because I want to review number 8. We had some speed bumps on that homework, and go over number 9 homework on the central limit. This is the first problem on week 8's homework. And you'll see the magic word, so to speak, normally distributed. As soon as you see normally distributed, that should be a huge red flag in your mind, because you know that's going to use a z-score, that's going to use the bell curve, the normal distribution, and all those numbers from the charts. You all know how to do it, and I'm singling out here Addie's work, but everybody got these problems correct in terms of, if I say normally distributed, you got all your numbers, you put them in the z-score formula. Addie has it right here. And then you find your z-score, and you go on the chart, and you get the 71.6%. Everybody has this. Everybody knows how to do normally distributed. Why am I singling this out as like, okay, let's emphasize this, because week number 8's homework is really, it's the same as this. It just has some, how do we describe it? There's some other stuff to see through first. So, for instance, week number 2, or problem 2 on week number 8, this is normally distributed, but before we can get to that stuff, I need to focus on another red flag word right there, proportion. Proportion is key. If you see the word proportion, you can't run away to that bell curve and the chart and everything right away. You need to know this formula. I was trying to steer you to acrobatic and find it. All right, I'll throw it right in front of you right now. If you see the word proportion, you're thinking about this formula. This is the standard deviation formula when you're dealing with a proportion. What percent of people, in this case, happy with things going? What percent of people like this restaurant? What percent of people don't smoke? Whatever it is, if you're dealing with those percentages, here's your standard deviation. Once you get the standard deviation, and how do you get it? Well, you got to plug the numbers in. Okay, the number of people, the percentage. You plug those into the formula. But once you get that, then we can get to the z-score formula. Then we can get to the bell curve and the chart, and so on and so forth. So you see, when you see this red flag word proportion, step 1 right here. Step 2, you're going to get to all the normally distributed things. Here's some numbers. The 85% is what I'm looking for, so that's my X. The 82% is the average in the U.S. You plug it in, and then the standard deviations from that new formula. So you know this z-score process. The issue on the week 8 homework is I want to make sure you know that new standard deviation formula. If you had issues on week 8 homework, go back and fix that. Another place we hit speed bumps on week 8. Problem number 3, I got this giant problem, and I want to emphasize that before you run off and do all this stuff, no, not on this problem. Number 3, I'm not looking for you to solve that stuff. I'm looking just for a yes or no answer. Yes or no is the only thing I'm concerned about. And in order to do that, once again, let's go back to that red flag concept. So, let's go to this chart in acrobatic. We'll use that as a reference. But when I was talking about red flags, look at that word, proportion. Red flag. Okay, proportion means I'm looking at this information. Because look at this, it's proportion. And in particular, I'm looking at this right here. It gives me 2 little formulas. How do I solve those formulas? Take those words, take the numbers from those formulas and plug them into this formula. If those formulas work, in other words, if they're bigger than or less than, then you can answer yes or no. Don't tell me, oh, the z-score. I don't care about a z-score. I care if those numbers go into this formula and either yes, it works or no, it doesn't. Give that a shot. Remember, that's for the proportion ones. What about the other 2? The other 2, there's asking about this. And for the other 2, when you have standard deviation or standard deviation, you can see that the average is. When you have questions like that, you need to answer, and I told you back to, you need to answer something using acrobatic as a reference. What in particular, you need to take this number and those other problems, and you need to compare. It has to be bigger than something. Bigger than what? How am I supposed to figure out the 50 is bigger than what? Right there. Go back to acrobatic. I'm not going to give you this one. Come on, you can read for it. But if it's proportion, then you do the first thing I was talking about, those formulas. If it doesn't say proportion, you have to get to page 101, and you have to figure out if it's bigger than a certain cutoff number, and then you tell me yes or no. I'm being a little abstract. Get to page 101, figure it out. All right, and now, that was week 8. If you hit speed bumps on that, go correct it and resubmit. This is week 9, but it's really the same stuff. It's central limit. 2 and 3. I'm looking in here and I'm seeing, okay, what things am I seeing? I'm seeing the words mean. I'm seeing the word standard deviation. So I think it's this scenario. I'm not seeing the words proportion. So I think it's this rule again. Hey, that was I was just talking about, page 101. I was talking about it has to be bigger than some cutoff. Well, I'll cut to the chase in this case. There's numbers here, but they're not bigger than the cutoff. So I'll be honest. If you were just going by that rule, the answer here should be no. That these are not central limit theorem. But there's an exception to the rule. So 2 and 3, I'm asking you on week 9 homework, for 2 and 3, I'm asking you to tell me when there's an exception to the rule. And guess how you find it? Look for a red flag word. Normal distribute. Okay. Once you find that red flag word, then you get to this stuff and go and solve me some math. I'm abstract. Send me an email if you're not sure about that. Number 4. Once again, we're on week number 9 homework. 4 and 5 from week number 9 homework. All right, let's play my red flag word here. What am I looking? Ooh, probabilities. Probability means we need to do this stuff. That just vanished on me real quick. When you see the word probability, that means you need to do the bell curve stuff. Oh, I guess it didn't stay on my slide. At any rate, what do I need to put into the bell curve? What numbers? Well, normally distributed means this is straight away. You know how to do that. Find the z-score, plug it in. We're good on that. However, this the new standard deviation, you need to do that when you have percentages. So see the difference between 4 and 5. If it says normally distributed, you know how to do that. And I used Addie as an example. She did that very well, solved the z-score, look it up in the chart. If you see percentages, then you're finding that new standard deviation, and then you're going to go to the chart, go to the bell curve. I'm talking in a lot of abstract words right now, but that's how to take care of number 9. And that's also how to revisit number 8. If you do have more questions, let me know. And also, since we're getting to the end of the term, last thing I'll say is please get the homework in. And if you are late a day or two, I can look past that because the main thing now is let's get to that finish line.